Hey guys.
Hello.
Welcome back to our
Real Love Scenario.
Shout out our real lovers out there.
Hi,
Our real lover
family.
fan. What's going on?
Love y'all big.
Good morning to all you guys who are listening to us in the morning on your morning workouts. Maybe I should give you a little beat.
Okay.
We hope you're getting a great workout in the morning. If you're listening,
Feel the burn.
You know, if you're listening to us, then we're excited that you're tuned in.
Absolutely.
And as we established last episode, this is a real lover community.
It is.
And a part of that real lover community, which I wanted to mention last episode, but I'm gonna say this episode, is that we're going to end up releasing a membership this year.
Yes.
And one of the things I think will be cool to apply this for this or to this show is that there'll be a section for real lovers and a place for us to converse and talk. But I feel like it would be really cool, and let us know if you feel like this would be a really cool idea, is that before we release these episodes, we'll put the scenarios in the membership. Mm-hmm. And then we'll allow you to like call in and like give your take on the scenario too and give the person advice on their
y'all
situation.
Can't see me, but I'm like, y'all that's listening, y'all can't see me. I'm like smiling so hard.
And then we'll play the real lovers like take like during the show. So after me and Rhonda say our piece, then we'll play like what
your piece,
the real lovers have to say, and you can give advice on the situations too. That's just one cool aspect I think of the situation.
It's gonna be so amazing. And our real lover community is filled with so many different people, but we have like brutally honest real lovers that just gonna rip the band-aid off and be like, you stupid, why are you dealing with this? But then we have others who are professionals in this space, who are coaches and therapists,
very
that
true.
You'll get really great insight from. So I'm so excited about this. I feel like, I just love engagement. I love interaction. Y'all spend a lot of time with me in the comments, which I appreciate. So yes, I'm thrilled. I'm gonna be in the community too. Like, I know this is what I said on the show, but I ain't have time to really get into this part.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just disguise my voice.
And it's different when you interacting with family. Yeah, the real lover family versus like social media. It'd be some trolls. It'd be some people don't want to think, low EQ and IQ sometimes too. But having you guys and having a community where we could all just be together, we could plan meetups, we could do so many different things. I'm excited for that opportunity. So let me know if you guys like that idea too, because I feel like it'll be a really cool aspect of the show to have our real lovers give their take. Because as I mentioned before, this is not just me and Rhonda, this is all of our show. Like, this is us together. So we appreciate you guys.
Do you remember that show, All of Us?
Yes.
I love that theme song. That was a good one.
Back in the day, the theme songs, the effort that was put into
they were like songs.
Yeah.
Like it was a part of it.
So good.
It was such a part of it.
So before we hop into our real life love scenario, I want to discuss some of our reviews, which are always lovely.
Yes.
This is from Nay1231.
Hey, what's up, Nay?
NAI, so Nay.
Okay.
That's what I think. Real is what the title says. I listened to about 3 episodes so far, but from the first one, I was hooked. I love the concept, a real conversation between 2 level-headed adults. The topics are great also, and I've related to quite a few so far. Yeah. I just appreciate that y'all think we like smart and like mature and stuff like that.
Because it's all a lie.
Like,
just kidding. No, I love that too.
Right?
I love that too. And we really are just being authentically ourselves. We do take this very seriously because you all spend time and write into us, which is, I think some part of me is still so tripped out by that like y'all sit down and like write to us. That's what we want you to do, but it's so cool. So while this comes very natural for us to talk about it, we do take it seriously. We discuss the topics. We do research when it's necessary. So happy that you're getting what we're giving. That's amazing.
I agree. One more. And this is from Joy Marie F.
Hey, Joy.
Who I feel like when we have an event, based off of this thing, you need to be like our hype person. Like we gonna bring you on stage and you can like introduce us to something.
Nice.
The title says spitting bar after bar.
Okay.
That's just set the tone right there.
Okay.
Said I almost crashed while listening, so I had to pull over and write this, and I'm gonna just leave this right here. The best way to get played is to create a standard and not stand on it. Drops mic. Y'all so dope. Thank you. That's a Rhonda Cornerstone right there. That's
what's
a Rhonda
up?
Cornerstone.
BT, call me for the cipher next time. Call me for the cipher. I think I can come up with some lines.
Bars.
No, that was I'm glad she enjoyed that one because it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Create them standards. We all need to have them, but you gotta stand on them.
She almost crashed. You almost had her.
Don't you be safe, Joy. Okay, so Joy, we be safe. We want to be responsible for lots of things, not accidents.
Not accidents.
No, not that. But I'm so glad you love the show.
Yeah, and that beware. There are some bars. So if you're driving, you're doing something active, just pay attention. You just beware. You know, you might get something at you that might hit you, and you just might
little spirit
might fall a little bit, like something just touched you.
I love it.
So beware of that. But no, like I said, our real lovers are everything. We love you guys so much, and we appreciate you. Please continue to write in and give us reviews, and we'll highlight them on the show. And maybe we'll try. We want to highlight you guys, so we're just trying to think of different ways and more ways that we can incorporate our real lovers into the show, because it's our show. We're here together.
It is. We love you deep, man. Real deep.
Awesome. So let's hop into our real life love scenario. So this is something that I wanted to talk about, but a little bit more of the story, but there's a central point that I want to talk about with it.
Because it was on so many blogs, so I won't even cite one of them. But Tamar Braxton, singer, songwriter, famous Braxton sister, talked about how she had gotten into like a little argument with a Real Housewife, which we learned recently was Candy Burris.
Yeah.
And I won't go into the backstory because we don't have time for all of that. But the point is they got into a heated discussion in public. And Todd Tucker, Candy's husband, allegedly came over and tried to separate it. But he said something, to defend his wife in the situation. And Tamar kind of felt like he shouldn't have spoken to her because she's a woman. And then ultimately him and her fiance winded up having a conversation and, trying to sort through it.
Yeah.
So
that's the backstory with it. But it had me thinking of a central theme of defending your woman's honor and what a woman expects in situations and how you should react in situations. Because I think all right, let's say we go somewhere and some dudes are disrespectful and it's 3 or 4 dudes and somebody just come up and even if it's verbally just dang, dang, shorty, why you with Lil Man? You need to come mess with a real man or something like that. And it's 4 of them. And obviously they seem like, they don't care. Obviously they don't care. That's disrespectful. They just whatever.
Yeah.
And that is almost, I think, an action that is welcoming confrontation. If you act that way, you see somebody with somebody. The question is that you ask your woman, do you want me to die for your honor? Basically, are you okay with me? Do you want me to be what you say? And get into this altercation with 4 different dudes and I'm out bad. Out back. Maybe I die because that's a possibility in this day and age.
It is, unfortunately.
Or are we we're going to ignore this? Obviously we not equipped for the situation. Let's go, in a different direction. Because I've been in situations, and I'm going to let you answer this from a woman's perspective, but I've been in situations outside of this never happened in a relationship standpoint, but I've been in situations to where I've been ticked off, irritated, mad at some way that something has gone down, but I read the room and saw that I was not equipped for confrontation in this moment. Reading the room is all right, thinking about the different ways that this can go. I'm not in a position to get into a confrontation because it's 6 of them.
Yeah.
It's just me. Yeah, it don't make sense. Ain't no way. Maybe I can get a good look in, but I will be running. There is no, it doesn't make sense for me to get into an altercation. So I just kind of hold my tongue, be quiet, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, as a woman, what do you, because you're going to feel and know at that moment, disrespected.
Of course.
And angry. And especially if it's at the hand of a man, you're going to be looking for your man to then respond.
Yeah.
How do you want a man to handle that situation? And let's keep in mind, disclaimer, Rhonda is from Baltimore. She is from Baltimore. So let's keep that in mind.
Let's keep that in mind. I have 2 answers to this question. So First answer is, I'm gonna answer it like a girl from Baltimore.
Okay.
I'm the type of girlfriend, if it all goes down,
you scrapping with them.
We both gonna be fighting.
You scrapping with them.
Okay, like you get that one, I got this one. Let's just see what we come up with in the next few minutes. Okay.
With that first point, are you the person that he gonna be holding back? Like, yo, like calm down.
No.
Like, okay.
No.
Because I know some women, it's like sometimes a dude be like, yo, like chill. Like,
no.
Okay.
I'm really even keeled. I mean, I'm sure you know this. I am.
But once you get there, I seen you like, I haven't seen you like physically, but I've kind of gotten a taste of like when you get irritated, like to the point to where you like you over something, and I can see it start to come.
The accent gets
like,
extra strong.
Like,
the curse words is coming like every 2 to 3 words. It's true. It happens. It happens. So if it all really goes down and like we find ourselves in a situation, I'm the wife. You remember the trend that was going around? I think last year sometime they were using T-Pain song, where it's like the husband is standing up in the front, he's explaining something more, somebody's getting into it with him. And then the song that says, talk to me, I talk back. Where the wives then come in and move the husband out the way, like, no, talk to me. I can be that way depending on the situation, right? But I think at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, I want my person to be safe. I want both of us to be safe. I'm mature enough and sensible enough to know that majority of these types of altercations, the best response is nothing. The best response in a lot of these situations is nothing. If the person is not posing physical harm to me and they're just using their words to be disrespectful or violent, because you can violently speak at someone. The best reaction is nothing, right? But in the heat of the moment, your emotions are high. When somebody says, like if a guy says, oh, you with that ugly bee, my initial emotions are going to be like, who you know what I mean? Like that's your first reaction, but a lot of times your first feeling is not the best feeling to respond from. It's just not. You think about the Chris Rock and Will Smith situation. Will Smith talked so much about that was his initial feeling. He never took a beat. He never took a moment to be like, okay, like to process what is going on and process it big picture, not process it in the moment. Processing it in the moment is, I want my man to call him a be back. I want my man to get in his face and be like, well, don't talk to my wife that way, or don't talk to my lady that way. That's serving your feeling in the moment. But long term is thinking, if I do that, then what? Then what? What does he do? Does it now escalate, or is he mature enough to de-escalate? The person who started it, probably not. Because if he started it, that means he's all about escalation. I want my person and myself to be safe. And so I would really want my honor to be defended, but within reason and when it makes sense to. I am at a point in my life where, yes, do words hurt? For sure. But does my response always have to be mirrored? Just because they use words to hurt me, do I now have to use words to hurt them back? I don't. I can choose to not allow those words to have power over me. I can say to my man who I want to be safe, who I want to not only be safe in the sense of not dying in this moment, but also to be safe in not reacting that then leads him to jail because he was just trying to protect me. Again, this is only in situations where there's no physical threat. It's just verbal exchanges. I don't want you getting you, me, us in a situation where now we're having to explain something because we couldn't control our emotions. I think it's an extreme weakness for people, but men specifically, when they cannot control their emotions. Because I think men have so much physical power that when men can't control their emotions, the physical power that comes out of them is dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. So I don't want that. Right? I don't. Now, if a person is posing physical harm to me, like is trying to get me, is touching me.
For
that's
sure.
A different
Don't matter
story.
how many folks it is.
Like, that's a different story. And now we still have to be smart and strategic about what we're dealing with here, because sometimes that's just going to a safe place and calling for help, and the right thing to say is to call 911, for help. But help can look like a lot of different things for certain people, like come get my wife out of here because I'm gonna just have a conversation with him man to man, and then what, I don't know, but I want my person to be okay. And I want to be in a place where we're both emotionally mature enough to not let words put us in a grave or in a prison. So, yeah, it seems cute. And in a moment, you know, this may not always be as realistic, but take a beat, because that beat could save your life.
Because I mean, there are some women, unfortunately, who like that. Like they when their man comes and like defends their honor and stuff like that, even no matter what that comes at, like what the cost is. But I in my time, I've loved, which my wife is one of these people, and a lot of people that I've actually dated have been these type of people, is that I like women that know how to handle themselves, understanding that what you said. And this is like a sidetrack to the point I'm making, but even growing up, when I was in college, like women fought way more than men. And the reason why I feel like that's the case, and I'm sorry, women, but like the result of the fights are less detrimental. A lot of times. It's like, you get into it. A lot of women couldn't fight anyway, so slapping, hair pulls, you know, nothing too crazy. The times I remember dudes fighting, people in the hospital, like
broken legs, broken limb,
jaw,
broken face.
like it's like the repercussions, guns pulled out, like a lot deeper and a lot heavier when it comes to that type of stuff.
One of my childhood friends died over like that. Got into a physical fight. Fight got really, really bad. The guy lost, and he came back and killed him, shot him. Nope.
The egos are different. The honor is different. Like it's all just a different situation. So it's important to have a woman, if you're with if you're a man with a woman who knows how to handle herself, knows how to interact in situations when men are aggressive. Understand? Because like that's the one thing I love about my wife, is that like I feel like she knows how to handle herself. And she would only engage me if she felt like I needed to be engaged. Or even at times she would tell me something after we left or after it happened versus telling me in that moment. Because it's like, all right, she's reading the moment. Even if it's something inappropriate, but it was slight, it's like, all right, we're in this setting. I know my husband has a lot going on. He has a lot to lose. Do I want to disrupt all that in this moment, because he's going to be pissed and he loses everything because he reacts in this moment.
It's not just the man's job to protect the woman.
Exactly.
It's the woman's job to protect the man as well. That's a shared responsibility. That's why these gender roles and the words that get thrown around, it drives me insane. So much of what we need is both of us need that. How you protect me is not just physical brawl, like, oh, you strong, you can beat people up for me. No, it's also using reasonable thinking to protect me in a dangerous situation.
For sure.
What you just explained is your wife protecting you, saying, I know this thing just was crazy over here at this bar with this guy, but if I tell my husband this in this moment, I will put him in a dangerous situation that could cause him to lose his freedom or his life. I can't do that, so I have to protect him. That is protection. And that's what you need. That's the type of woman that I am. Like, we just gonna deal with this later.
Yeah, because I mean, especially as you if you get into adulthood, like physical altercations are like the last resort to something. Like when you're kids, but as an adult, you 30, 40, 50, like ain't nobody trying to
Your bones ain't even gonna come back right.
Like we ain't gonna recover right from this. Like this ain't.
No,
we ain't doing this unless we like have to, like unless it's completely necessary. But like you said, the protection is so important, that understanding that, and that's where that emotional intelligence, that what they call it, like street knowledge, and like understanding, reading a room, understanding a situation, understanding what's at stake, and determining, is this the right decision to make? How should I handle this decision? Like I said, these things, especially in this day and age, this is the difference between life or death sometimes. And understanding how to manage certain situations. So I just was interested in that, because I'm like, man, like certain situations, it's also putting yourself in the right environments as well to make sure that you don't run into certain things and run into certain issues. But when it comes to like defending a woman's honor, I just know that that's always, especially, for a man who is a level-headed thinker and stuff like that, it's like it's very tough at times.
Yeah.
To decide like when to go, or because you don't ever want your woman to ever feel like she's not secure or protected when she's around you,
And
or
I think
that
this
people
is also
could walk all over her when she's around you, and that's like hard to determine, especially if it's in a situation where it's like, I know if I do interact with, maybe I can't fight, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
everybody can't fight.
It's like, damn, like I can't just like not let him, like let somebody do that. But is she gonna look at me worse if I don't say something, or is she gonna look at me worse if I get my butt whooped? Like, so I know that could be a tough situation.
For sure. I feel like so much of what we talk about on here, people should take these topics and have these conversations in your relationship.
Yeah. How would you want me to
How would
react?
you want me to respond in these types of situations? And you could give a particular answer in that moment. Again, so much of this is hard to say because when you're in the moment, it's different. I've been in situations, not necessarily with, I was in college, but where it was a hot situation and I was just with my girlfriends. And in the moment, we reacted immaturely. This wasn't that long ago, though. It really, really wasn't, because in the moment, sometimes all of this reasonableness, it just doesn't come to you. So this is a practice. This is something that you do need to talk about and think about, because in the heat of the moment, you're hoping that that conversation that you had with your person, it pops in your head. Like, all right, cool. We actually just talked about this. We was listening to Real Love Scenario and we was having a conversation about this, and boom, now we're in this situation. Now we can put it to the test.
Yeah.
So have these conversations around how your person should react, how you think they should react. You might learn that your man can't fight. You might learn that your lady is a hothead that could get you in situations that could get you hurt or killed. These conversations need to happen because they are a really important part of relationships. You hope that you never are in these types of things, but you just don't know. Man, I saw, was it a football game or basketball game where the woman was like hitting this man over and over and over, like disrespecting him. Like they weren't together. They both were just at the game. He kept his composure for like so long. Like everybody in the comments that saw the video was like, well, I'd have knocked her clean. And she deserved. She was actually assaulting him. So he could have hit her in self-defense. He did not. I think it was like a Patriot. It was some big football game. I think the NFL reached out to him, or the team reached out to him and like invited him back to games, had him come back behind and like meet players, all because they saw how well he handled that situation. He had everything showing that he could have really harmed his, and no one would have really felt that bad if he hit her, truth be told. So holding your composure can just lead to, one, obviously your safety and your freedom, and your life. But being a even-keeled person in these situations is the best reaction, even if in the moment it might look like you're being weak. No, you're being actually very, very strong.
Yeah.
To be able to control your emotions.
I mean, I remember Obama saying that one time, is like, strength is not throwing the punch, but it's like holding the punch. Like that's where the actual strength comes in. That's the real strength.
I agree.
Like it's easy when you're upset to just pop off, but the strength is really like,
the Arthur hand.
Like just shaking, like I want to do it, but I can't, so.
Yeah. That's a great topic.
That's a great discussion.
Talk to y'all folks about it.
You should.
Yes. All right, let's jump into our real love scenario. I'm trying to see if she wants to be anonymous. It doesn't say. But her name is kind of anonymous anyway.
Yeah, it's really
Her name is Lady A. She wrote in and says, "Hey, Dre and Rhonda, you guys are doing an awesome job. Thank you. So recently my husband took me on a weekend trip for my birthday. However, I truly did not enjoy this trip because he constantly complained about the amount of money he spent. Prior to the trip, when asked what I wanted for my birthday, I told him to surprise me. When he mentioned going away, I told him we didn't have to do that and we could just do a weekend staycation in our home state. Now he is upset because he feels as though I didn't appreciate the trip. However, when I tried to tell him that I was a bit stressed due to his money worries, he exploded, then went on a rant about me being ungrateful. How do I have a conversation without it leading to an argument, or should I just leave it be?"
Thank you for writing in. Of
Thank
course,
you, Lady A.
yeah. There's a lot of different themes in this, but the first thing I always think about is like for men it can be challenging sometimes to understand what your woman actually wants, and it's like you say you don't want something, but like, do you? Or like, because I feel like sometimes you'll be in a relationship and somebody will vent and say a lot of different things
Yeah.
about what they like and what they don't like and different stuff like that, and then you'll hear all those things, but then when it comes to a certain moment, you'll hear them say something that contradicts a lot of things that they've said before, and you'll just be sitting there like,
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do. So I heard you say this. I heard you say this. But also I've heard you say other things in the past.
Right.
I've heard you even say 4 months ago how you would love to go on a trip for your birthday. But now you're telling me, oh, if it's a money thing, we don't have to really worry about it. A staycation is fine. And it's like, will you come back later and be like, like I really wanted to do so? Like it's hard to navigate that space sometimes. So how do you think, as a giving men advice, how should they navigate this situation when dealing and talking to their significant other who is a woman?
I mean, I feel like it is really important for men to listen. I get it. I really do. I'm not going to sit here and act like sometimes women don't say conflicting things. But I think a lot of times when women do say conflicting things, specifically on this topic, it is because we are doing what I would say a form of protection, which is, yes, I really do want to go on a trip for my birthday, right? I do, of course. But my form of protection is telling you that like we really don't have to do that. It's because I probably know your financial situation and you can't afford it. So do I want to go? Yes, I do want to go. But I also am willing to accept something less than that or more cost efficient because it might cause you stress if we do what I really, really want to do. And so I think there is a fine line. It's not always going to come super easy to try to figure this out. And I don't think it's anything wrong with asking your partner clarifying questions like, okay, I know that you said you want to go on a trip. You've been saying it for a while. Why now are you saying that it's okay if we don't do that? Well, if she's being honest with you and saying, well, babe, because I know things have been tight. Money has been this. We're working on a budget right now. Blah, 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 blah. And then you can say, okay, cool. Like, I really appreciate that. But if we really don't go on this trip, like, are you truly going to be okay with that? Like, okay, like, can you assure me that you're really gonna I'm gonna make it special for you? I really am, but I just want to really make sure that if I don't do that, you will be okay. And she could very well lie through this whole scenario, but let's just go with the hypothetical that she's not lying. She's going to say, okay, babe, for real, like it's fine. Maybe we can figure out a different creative way, like a staycation, being a tourist in your own town, going somewhere where neither of you have ever been. So it feels like a vacation, but it doesn't come with the hefty cost of check bags, flights, ground transportation, and all these other things that come with when you truly travel. Ask clarifying follow-up questions to make sure, not just that basic, you sure? Now you sure? Because I don't want to hear nothing about it later. Don't use defensive language because then that puts her on the fence. Well, I don't never say nothing about, I deal with it. I wouldn't have to be dealing with this if you would have picked up them extra hours. It can just turn into a spiral of, now we probably ain't going to do nothing for my birthday because
we both mad
at each other. So ask clarifying questions and be thoughtful. The other side of that, though, which I'll say, is a lot of times people try to start planning things for people really late.
Very true.
Really, really, really late.
I'll raise the hand for a lot of men in here.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. You start thinking of this.
So your options are then limited to what you actually can do.
Yes.
Because you think
thought about it 2
so
weeks
late.
Prior.
And you like,
or a month prior.
So that thing wouldn't even get here until like 30 days.
Yeah.
So that's out.
Yes.
That would have been good.
Yeah. And I do that too sometimes. I really, really do. But my mom, it's crazy. I don't even know why I still do it. But my mom used to say when we were kids, because my mom expected us to get her something for her birthday. Like even if it was just a card.
Yeah.
Like a flower, something small. She didn't expect, it could have been a soda. My mother loved Coca-Cola growing up. You could have bought her something. And she would always say when like me or my cousins who she raised didn't do it, She would be like, you had 365 days to prepare for my birthday. You could have started planning the day after my birthday last year. It's the same day every year. It's not like my birthday moves around or it's a surprise. You know exactly when it is. So if you know that your person really, really wants something, perhaps you build a plan into it to actually see if you can really make that happen before you just assume that you can't. You can sign up for flight tracking on certain websites where you put in the dates that you're considering. You see what the prices are. You can track those prices and get alerts that show you if that price starts going up, or sometimes it might go down. You can try to find package deals where, if you get a room during a certain weekend, maybe it comes with complimentary breakfast, or you find a place where you can stay where the room might be a few dollars more, but the parking's free and you get a meal credit. There are ways to save money, but a lot of times it requires planning.
Yes.
Okay, you gotta. We
talked about this on an episode
a couple weeks ago. Yes, with the guys in school. Yeah. So it's the same thing, So sometimes if you want to really give your person what they want, but also do it in a budget that works for you, you gotta really plan it out. You gotta really think about it. And I just think sometimes people don't do that, so it gets frustrating. Because then I know me, I'll look back at like, so you couldn't take me here, but you bought this, this. You was here. You was out last week. You do. By the time I finish adding up them things that you was just doing and them things that you bought, we could have went on a trip. We could have went on a birthday trip
for sure.
But okay.
I mean, I think another big theme in this is something that I've said multiple times already, is that your yes have to mean yes and your no's have to mean no. Like you have to, if you say that you're okay with something, you have to be okay with it. Like you can't go back and renege and get mad at the person because of something that you already agreed about. Like I remember even one time where Bree and I, we started a business together, for those who don't know, and we've been doing social media branding for years. And we were at a point to where we're living together. We work from home. We live in a metropolitan area where there's a grocery store right underneath us. There's restaurants everywhere. Like, why do we have two cars? We don't even use like the cars separately that much. So we're going to get one car and just see how that works. And if we got to get another one, that we'll go back, or even if we pay a certain amount of Ubers because it's inconvenient, it's still not as much. Like, just going to save money. So then, at the time, like my credit was really good. So we were doing it under my name, and Bree wanted a specific car. Like she wanted a car, a Jeep Wrangler. Like that's the dream car she always wanted. And we went to get like a used one, and I had never ridden in them before. And I was riding and I was like, yo, like I do not like this. Cause Jeeps are very like older vehicles.
They're designed for rough rides.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was no backup camera. Like the cabin was loud. Like it wasn't like insulated. Like you didn't feel like, sometimes you feel like your car is like a tranquil, like just your space. It was like loud. It was just, I was like, I don't like this car. Like I don't like it. And then, I wanted to get something a little cheaper, all this stuff like that. So we get to a point to where I just decide, I'm like, okay, we're going to get this Jeep. And I told Bree all of my frustrations and why I didn't want to do it. But I was like, this is what you want. We're going to do it. And I was like, after this day, you won't hear anything else about it from me. We're making this decision. We talked about it. I compromised. We're getting this. I will not hang this over your head. I will not be upset at you later for doing this. Like we chose to do it. Like I could have stood my ground and still been like, no.
Yeah.
But now that I made the decision and I gave in and this is what we're going to do, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And I think you have comfort in that when you make a decision. It's like the things that people end up doing, things that like maybe in this situation where the guy is like, or when Lady A in this situation is giving the option of doing a staycation, is maybe she's with somebody who she knows like, anytime this person gives in, I'm not going to hear the last of it. And it's always going to be something like, like, oh man, I didn't want to do this. Or every little thing, it's like looking at the receipt. See, this is why. That's why I didn't want to do this. Cause this costs this much and this costs this. What is these extra fees in here? And like, And I don't want you looking at me crazy because I want to get an appetizer, you know, and that's $13 extra. Like I don't want to hear it. So let's just do a staycation. That's reasonable. But like in a relationship, it's try not to be that person.
Yeah.
That's always like complaining, or if you agree to something, you're giving your person crap about the thing that you complained about and that you agree with, because the option, you don't have to agree to stuff. Like you could say like, oh, you forced me into it. I didn't force you into nothing.
Yeah.
You could do whatever you want. You could have been like, nope, not doing it. Not doing that thing.
Yeah.
No matter what, I'm not doing it. You chose to compromise or to give in at some point. That was your decision that you made. I applied pressure, maybe. I tried to convince you, just as you were probably at one point trying to convince me of why your situation or reason was right. But now we're at the situation where somebody has to compromise, somebody has to give in. Don't give me crap every time you give in a situation and stuff like that. Like,
that's such a bad feeling, because
it's
like
horrible.
On a normal day, that's a bad feeling. Like with the situation you just talked about with you and Bree in the car, like that wasn't for her birthday. That was just a lifestyle decision for your household. But like the one day of the year that I really don't want to feel really bad on is like my birthday, or anything that's supposed to be celebrating like my birthday. So to hear you complain about something that you agreed to do on my birthday, it's like, man, you're really just kind of undoing that, even if it came with some pressures, like you said, even if it came with the pressure of like, oh yeah, I really do want to go on a trip, or I haven't traveled in 3 years, or we just haven't been able to because we had the baby. All of these things that kind of go into your feeling as to why you really, really, really want to make this happen.
For sure.
It's still possible that you have to have that difficult conversation with your person to say like, you know, babe, I really do want to take you out of town. I really do want to give you a trip because you deserve it, because you have been working hard, because you are a new mom, because you just deserve it, because you want it. But I'm just not in a position to do that. I feel like so much of men's value is rooted in financial contribution and how they show up in the world financially. It's unfortunate because it then puts them in a place where they cannot be vulnerable when they are incapable of doing something financially. We were just talking about, there's a clip that's viral of Jess Hilarious and her son's father sitting down talking with their son about what they can do better as parents.
Yeah.
And the little boy says to his father, you know, I want to do more fun things. Like he asked him, what can we do better? And he's like, I want to do more fun things, like basically stuff, like entertaining things. And the dad just has a very honest response that winds up becoming extremely emotional, telling his son that like, financially things are hard right now. Like I got you have siblings, and money is like tight, but I want to do these things and I'm going to do these things. I just need time. I just need a little more time. It was beautiful. Jess supported this moment as a woman, but just sitting and being silent in that moment, and just letting this man have an exceptionally vulnerable moment. And I say exceptional because he's on camera. He's not unconscious of that.
Yeah.
But he's also saying this to a little boy who can't fully grasp what it means to not have means and why it's making dad cry. Because mom can much more easily say, we not going there because you don't have McDonald's money. You asking for things. Black mama's been saying that for 40, 50 years.
That's a staple.
It's a staple comment. Where men most of the time don't have the luxury to say that. Men are often just, you are expected. Under no circumstances are you able to come and say, I don't have it.
Yeah.
You're just not. So to be able to have a space in your marriage where that's a just real conversation that like, yes, I would love to take you on a trip, but I don't have it. I just really don't have it. And if she's your spouse, unless you're keeping her out of money for some reason, you should be able to very easily show why you don't have it. This was due, that was due, we're doing this, I'm paid off the credit card, we putting so-and-so through college. I'm sure there are very straight up and down reasons as to why you wouldn't have it. But then also as a person who's receiving that information, the spouse, to say, I know how much this means to my man, right? To be able to tell me that he don't have money to give me something. Sure. I know that took a lot for him to say that. Let me figure out, one, how to handle that, which is just to receive it. and say, I understand and I get it. And I appreciate you being honest with me. But then 2, being okay with an alternative, like being okay with an alternative and working together for hopefully next year or another time. I was born on September the 30th. We can celebrate my birthday in December if that's a better time for a trip. I'm not 3. I'm about to be 40.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not that serious for me. I don't want you going in debt or being stressed or having to cry because you couldn't take me to Cancun for 3 days for my birthday.
I think that managing money with when you have a person is a challenge, and it's a lot. Especially as a man, it's a lot of pressure, you know, because I think that ultimately, let's say, do I feel like if I were single, would I probably be in a better financial position than I am now? Probably, right? And that's because of my mindset and my philosophy towards money. I'm very conservative. I'm very, you know, saving conscious and stuff like that. To where my wife is a little bit more of a free spender, can't take it all with you type of person. So I have to adjust my lifestyle to that. Like I have to adjust to, you know, doing the things that she wants to do, which also is a benefit because having that balance of like, yo, like let's do something. We got the money, let's just do it. Like let's do it. Let's take this chance. Let's take this trip. It's a balance to that, so it's great. Would I have, like I said, would I have more money? Possibly if I was still single, yes. Would I be having a better time in my life? No. I'm having an amazing time with my wife. And part of that is her opening me up to experiencing new things. But it's just a challenge when you introduce somebody else to the equation of somebody that you have to consider or think about when it comes to managing money. And I know that can be tough as a man. So I do feel for the brother in this that like sometimes it's tough, it's rough to read women and trying to balance that with spending money because you want to treat somebody special. And then you also know sometimes as a man, and I never really had this insecurity, but I know some guys do, that there are other men out there who are willing to do more. So that can be an insecurity too, especially if you know, like I know men who the girl that they're with now dating an athlete prior, but now they're dating them. So that like becomes an insecurity because it's like,
I can't do all the things.
I can't do all that. Like, you know what I'm saying? But you're trying and you're insecure about like, will she look at this one day and be like, like this just isn't what I want or what I'm used to. And you just have to be secure in your situation and know that she's with you for a reason. That there's benefits, there's pros and cons to everything. And for a while, some people, money and things like that might be a pro. For other people, it's something that they would love, but it's not necessarily the end all be all or the number one requirement. So it's understanding that. But one thing I want to give this for our men listeners in here that I've learned with dealing with a woman in this situation of how to handle it better, because I've fallen short with gifts. Every man has. Like give you a long enough relationship, like you fell a little short. There are some, you know, men who are better at that, and I feel like a lot of men who are really good at it too are like older. Like they have a little bit more experience. They understand how to, you know, how to get into the flow and stuff like that. But the one thing I learned that will help you in these situations, number one. Let's see if
I agree with this.
Ask a friend.
I would
ask her friend.
Number one.
Cause she'll tell you the real, like she'll tell you the real, like even though your girl might be like, no, and then your friend ain't got an emotional attachment to you.
Nope.
She love you. She might call you bro, but she gonna be like, oh no, yeah, get her this, do this, do that, and it's not cheating. Cause at one point I felt like, that's cheating. I'm not being genuine. I'm not really thinking of the idea. I'm just asking for it. Your wife, a woman, will be happy if she gets the thing that she would like.
Correct.
It doesn't matter who it came from or the idea, how it came up. That friend she talked to all the time, ask that person.
Ask them. The friends are the key, man. It's a great cheat code. Call it a cheat if you want. It's a great cheat code, and it's one that we're okay with.
Yeah, you're okay
like,
with it.
We are good with that. My bestie, she does know.
Yeah.
I promise. I mean, I know you know too, because I might have said it to you in a certain way, but like, no, she really knows.
She can get through all the mess. Like, she know, like.
Yeah, and probably she can help with execution, which I think is sometimes where men really fall short. It's the execution. You could do it, but you just don't know how to present it.
Yeah.
You don't know how to make it impactful.
For sure.
Women, that's our thing. We elevate things.
For sure.
We do.
Yeah,
So,
y'all good at that. So ask a friend.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, which is, not as good as number one, but still something that I found to be effective, is just taking initiation and thought and putting forth effort without having to be asked to do it is a thing that works. And also, if it can be shown that in the action that you actually took time to plan it all out, because women can see an action that don't look planned out versus action that do look like it's planned out. And even if you miss it a little bit, but you tried, it's shown that you had some effort in planning this out. You went to a place, you had a reservation. Like when you got there was stuff set up and this and that. Like that helps the situation to know, like, if somebody loves you and they see, like, sometimes you have those. Sometimes you're as a man, your woman looks at you like a little kid. It's like, oh, he tried. I just appreciate the effort.
So true.
It's like a kid coming to you, like drawing something and like giving it to you. You're like, oh,
yep,
it's not a house. It doesn't look anything like a house, but
so
or they'd be
true.
like, I drew you, and it's like, yeah, mommy's not that tall, daddy's not that short. Yeah. I'm not orange, but like it's
so
just
sweet.
okay.
It's us. It's us anyway.
And I feel like y'all look at us like that sometimes.
It's
like
so
when we
true.
try and put in effort and we miss the mark a little bit, but you see, like,
he tried.
We tried and we like put effort into it, and we're excited to like show you and do that stuff like that. You just look like,
he's so sweet, y'all. Look at what he did. He's just, and I mean, it's true. I feel like sometimes the way that I think is like how so many other women think, and I know that there are exceptions out there who just don't care about these cheesy, cute things. But most women, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say most women really like
they
when
love their man.
Yes, like when you put in effort and you do the little stuff. Like while you were talking, I was just thinking about, like, okay, let's say you're going on a trip. You wanted it to be a week. You could only afford to do it for 2 or 3 days. Those 2 or 3 days can then be filled with other things that aren't as expensive, but they're really thoughtful. They're really creative. That's what I mean about execution. So imagine you going through the airport. We all got to go through TSA. What if you went to the airport a little earlier, right? Like you say, oh, babe, I'm running to the gym, but you don't go to the gym. You go to the airport. You take some flowers. You explain to the people, because people will conspire to help you. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
Flight attendants. Just people will help you. I have seen people propose in grocery stores, and everybody in the grocery store that works there helped, and they knew, and they held signs, and they helped you just because they like that feeling. Imagine then you go there and you take flowers and you take it to security check, and you like, all right, I'm gonna check these in. Can y'all just hold them, like, please? So like when we come back through, imagine getting the worst thing you don't want to happen in the airport is what? When your bag goes through.
For sure.
You don't want your bag to get pulled. You like, we got to get on this flight. I want to get something to eat before, like, that bag getting pulled it's gonna hold me up. I don't feel like it. Oh, we got to pull your bag. And then they not really pulling your bag. When they pull you over to the side, it's some flowers there that might have cost you $10 from the grocery store. You got a cute little ribbon put on them, cost you $2 to get them rewrapped. And now I'm in the airport, like, he's so cute. He's so cute. Like, you
scared me half to death, so it may not have been the best decision, but
down for it.
I see it.
Down for it.
He tried.
It's thoughtfulness. Thoughtfulness is often free or very inexpensive. That will make me feel like, yo, yes, even though I wanted to go for 5 days, that little touch was just such a thoughtful thing. So you're right. We do look at you like that, especially when you put forth thought.
It's a married man. I'm trying to tell you who's messed up sometimes and trying to be better, because the one thing, this is what I said for my men out there. The one thing that your woman does not want to feel like, especially on special days, is an afterthought. She doesn't want to feel like there were other things that were arranged and planned ahead of her her special day, and the thing that she has going on is secondary to that.
Yeah.
Especially on like her birthday or Valentine's Day or a special occasion. Like she doesn't want to feel like an afterthought.
Like,
and
damn, somebody just reminded you.
Yeah, like no. And throughout the days, if you work, you do this, it's understood. But on special days, she don't want to be afterthought. Like I said, I had to learn that the hard way when it came to relationship. And luckily that's where building up equity makes sense in a relationship, because the person can take that moment and understand that moment is a reflective of who you actually are.
Yeah.
And they give you the grace and they give you the opportunity to then be better and improve in the future. They'll, their feelings will be hurt. Subsequently, your feelings will probably be hurt, because if they're in a bad mood, it's going to be off a little bit. But, if you build up the equity in your relationship and have a strong foundation, you can get past those things, but you have to learn from it. And like I said, that the things that I gave you are from personal experience. This is what happens. It's like, boom, I missed an opportunity like that. Next time something came around, I called a friend. Oh, this was great. Oh my gosh, I wanted this so much. Didn't even know. I got my wife, eye massager, like an eyelid massage or something like that. It's like it massages your eyes. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that. Best friend Tori was like, yo, I think this would be good for Valentine's Day. Bree loved it. And I'm like,
okay, sure. Who would have thought? You certainly would not have thought of that. No. Of course not. The cheat codes, we are really okay with some of the cheat codes.
Yeah.
And I know that financial stress, to me, it's one of the worst ones. It's very hard to push through being stressed about not having money.
For sure.
It's extremely hard to put on a brave face and act like everything is okay when you literally don't know how you're going to make ends meet. So him being stressed out about it because he did something that went beyond the means of what he could afford, Lady A's husband. Yes, it was one, not necessary because she told you it wasn't necessary, but then you did it anyway.
Yeah.
And now you've caught like almost self-inflicted stress that you can't really hide. You can't. It's hard. But in this moment, like I said, my birthday, like Jesus, I wish you would have worked harder to try to hide it from me, but also to then ask me, well, did I enjoy myself? Now you expect me to lie and say, yes, I did, although I did not, because I had to watch and listen to you be stressed out about money that we did not need to spend. And again, I get it. Like I said at the top of the episode, sometimes women can be confusing about what they want, what they don't want, because your mouth is saying you're cool with something, but then your behavior shows differently. But you got to spend time prepping and really having a conversation before you spend a penny. Talk about that before a penny is spent on anything. All right, I noticed what you want and I noticed what you said, but let's really actually sit down and talk about it.
But with that situation, even though I feel like women can be confusing sometimes in that space, you got to think of the different options that you have. Either you feel like she's going to be mad at you if you don't take her on a trip. And you do some staycation because you feel like even though she's saying what she's saying, that's not what she means. That's one option. You feel like she's going to be mad at you because of that. Or she's going to be mad at you because you're going on the trip, but you're being cheap and you're complaining about it the whole time. In both of those situations, she's going to be upset with you. From my experience, you're better off her being mad at you by doing the thing that she said, because at least you can rely back on, this is what you told me you wanted.
Yes.
But it's going to be even worse where she looking at you like you are mad at me and are resenting me for something I told you I didn't even want.
That's correct.
Like
you lose.
I understand the situation that you're in with money. I said I'm okay with it.
I'm your wife. I understand. Because if you're in a bad situation financially, guess who else is? Me.
So it's like
you ain't in it alone, sir.
I understand. That's why I presented the option to tell you, hey, we don't gotta do this. Just letting you know. But now you mad at me for something I told you I didn't even want to do because I knew your situation.
Yeah.
Like that would piss her off even more, because then it's like, not only I wrap my head around now having a staycation and that being the thing and that being our experience. And I was fine with that. And I was cool with that. And I was happy with that. And I was going to figure out how to enjoy myself, because honestly, it's about spending time with you.
That's right.
That's what I'm excited about.
Right.
But instead of doing that, you now have made two bad decisions to where it's like now you're in a financially worse position, and now we're in a worse position because the experience wasn't even great.
Yep. And I can't even bring it up to you because you blowing up and going on rants and getting upset, because I'm like, well, babe, and I don't know how she's approaching him. I don't know if she's coming in hot, so then he's responding hot. I don't know. But yeah, it's just, I would rather you have gone with what she said she was okay with, because like you said, if she then did get an attitude, you could be like, but this is what you said you were okay with. So how could you really be upset with me? And furthermore, if that happens, if she says, I'm okay with not going on the trip, let's just do a staycation. Y'all go, you make it the best that you can make it. And she still has an attitude. You got a whole nother issue that you need to address in your relationship.
Yeah.
That your wife is potentially a poor communicator, that she says things that she doesn't mean. Her yeses aren't yeses and her no's aren't no's. Mm-hmm. That's a whole nother, now you have a communication error and you need to talk through that. But at least now you learned that. But you're not dealing with, well, I told you we didn't have to do this and you still did it anyway. So the only person you can really be mad at is you.
Yes. And I'll say this for Lady A, which I'm starting to think stands for Lady Anonymous.
It just might.
Is that in this situation, which I don't hear a lot of women maybe do, and I would say from being a man in the situation, just ask him, just as a curiosity thing, it's like when it comes to situations like gifts or going on trips or anything like that, do you feel like when I say something that I might not actually mean what I say? Like, just ask him that, because he might reveal and be like, yes, like it's hard. Like, I don't know what to do.
Here's why, because last week when I asked you if you wanted something to eat, you said no. I came back with food. You ate my food. The other time you said you was good for me to not watch a movie with you, but then I overheard you on the phone with Rhonda talking about you wish I would have stayed in there and watched a movie. You do it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
so it's like, just ask him, like, do you feel like, because that's the thing, is that you might do that.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes he'll be like confused on what to do. And, or, you know, the slight things you might say, like, you know, you might get upset one time and it may have been a year and a half ago and you said something about a man being able to do stuff and provide and something because you were upset. He didn't let that go. He still remembered that.
Yep.
And he still feels like that's your underlining perception of him. Like, all these things could take into account. So I think you should just ask him, like, hey, like, if I say things, do you like think that I'm not like telling the truth? Or if I say I want something, like, and just listen to him and explain, because it'll help you better understand him and how to approach him. And maybe, I don't know, you come up with a key word that's like, yo, if I say this word with this statement, that means that this is what it is. Like, there is no hidden agenda or anything like that.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
if I say walrus or real talk after it, like, that means
I really mean that.
And what I'm agreeing to you, or what we're agreeing to, is that if I use that statement or if I say that, I can't then come back and give you grief about it or say anything about it or feel any type of way about it, because that's me really saying, like, this is fine. And I feel like if you figure that out, because so many relationships, you have like you have different tricks and quirks that work for you.
Of course.
But if you guys agree to that and figure that out, then I think that it could be a lot better situation. And then you can also, like I said, you a lot of times in a relationship, you got to kind of coach your person to help them understand, like, what how to navigate in certain situations and what means the most to you. And like I said, it might be, he might think it's where you're going or the experience, to where you're just like, I just want to not feel like an afterthought, because that's how I feel most of the time. I just want there to be some type of planning, or I see some type of effort going into this. Like, that may be the thing that you want, but you have to figure out your root thing and what's most important to you, and then you got to be able to communicate that to him. Because men are simple. We're complex, but we're simple. When it comes to a lot of, well, humans are just in general very complex but very simple.
Yeah, agreed.
At the same time. So just break that down and just communicate through it. That would be my like overall advice for Lady A. And we gave a lot of advice for Mr. Lady A too.
Mr. Lady. The Mr. so-and-so lady name is always very funny to me. I agree with you. I would say, sometimes there are casualties with like lining your relationship up with what you see other people do, whether that's your friends and what they do in their relationships and what you see other people in relationships do online. Because I think sometimes that feeds into this type of issue where it's like, oh, your wife said she really wanted to go on a trip for her birthday. You couldn't take her, but it's not just that it's not just that you're thinking she might be disappointed. You're thinking that you are not measuring up to what you believe men do for their wives for their birthdays. You have to be your own relationship goals right? Like setting goals for your relationship. Like, I want to be able to take my wife on a trip for her birthday every year, and then you back into that goal. So if it wasn't 2022, you couldn't make it happen. Now you plan for 2023. A lot of times with strategy and planning, you can make most things happen that you really want, whether that's starting a business, taking your wife on a trip, saving for a house. Everything that is going to come to fruition that's a good thing often requires strategy and planning. And so these are just real conversations that you have to have with your person. Like, what do you really want? What can we really do? And be honest and vulnerable about when you're doing it and how you're going to get there. That's it. So,
Agreed.
Approaching him and just really maybe saying, because she wants to know, like, should she keep bringing it back up or leave it alone? I think you need to bring it up because you all haven't seemingly had a calm conversation about it, but maybe just not right now. Maybe give it a little bit of time, couple weeks, let the energy cool down from the trip. Because it's probably still fresh. Y'all just went on a trip. He just asked you about it. You were kind of like, I ain't like it. So maybe the emotions are hot right now, but definitely revisit the conversation with him and say, like, listen, I would really like us to talk about this because I don't want it to happen again. Yeah. So let's just talk through it. I don't want you to blow up on me when you explode. It hurts my feelings. It makes me feel invalidated. It makes me feel like you're dismissing me. Vulnerability wins, y'all. I'm telling you, it wins. So say those things. I would like us to have a calm conversation about what happened with my birthday.
And it's like I said, setting the expectation and understanding, because I feel like a lot of times as men, you feel like women want you to innately just know how to do things and understand things. And that's just, we're not always the best at that. And you have to understand that and give us grace. But I think you communicating as a woman, like, all right, this is the things, but also, like I said, coming to him and understanding, I think it'll help if you come with how I said, with identifying that maybe there's some things that you could do better. Like, hey, is there times where I say something and I may not be clear? Yeah. And then he may ask, like, oh, why do you ask that or something like that? Then you can get into the birthday thing and maybe you can say, like, I'm over it. Like, I appreciate you doing that. Like, I understand, but I'm just trying to, make sure that in the future we have a much better experience. So it's not all this back and forth. Yeah. But you may, be able to communicate, like, all right, I don't like surprises in this situation, but I am okay with surprises in this situation. For instance, if we are going out of the country or going on a trip, I would love to have input in where we're staying and stuff like that, because that's a part of my experience. Like, I don't want you to surprise me with a place and then I'm like bittersweet with it because I hate the place that we're staying at. Right. But I'm like, well, I guess we're out here in Mexico or Jamaica or something like that, but this place is like not giving me a great experience. Like, so things like that, I don't want you to, like, even if you're like, we can do this or I'll cover it. Like, I would like to have input on those things. Yeah. That would be my request. But if we're doing experiences, date night, if you want to do like a cooking class or something like that, you're surprising me with, I'm completely okay with that. Ups and downs, we could ride it out. We could have a bad experience together and have it together and just be an experience that we talk about. But as long as we're together, but certain things I don't need surprises on, but certain things I would like the thoughtful surprise on. And just communicating that would be like, that saves, it saves so much energy and time and so much like thought process with the man, like trying to figure out, all right, what to do, like, how should I do this? When should I do this? If he has a better understanding of how to approach you or how to surprise you or how to love you, speaking of love languages and things like that, then that will be a huge help. So the communication factor.
It's massive. It's massive. Well, Lady A, thank you for writing in.
Boom.
We hope we were able to help. Hope this conversation goes well when you reapproach it with your husband. I would love an update. Yeah. So please provide. Happy belated birthday. If you want to write into the show, you can visit us online at www.relationshiprestored.com. Click the contact, write into the show. You can also follow us on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cake.
At Dre Smith.
And at Relationship Restored. And we'll see you next time.
Peace.